Marlborough Education, AS Sociology, Unit 2, Methods, Unstructured Interviews. Researchers who use unstructured interviews are associated with the anti-positivist tradition. Anti-positivists argue that whilst scientific methods might be useful for studying matter like molecules and atoms, it isn't appropriate for studying people. So anti-positivists use more humanistic methods like unstructured interviews. Whilst interpretivists and interactionists fall into the anti-positivist tradition, feminists also favour this method as it allows women the freedom they need to explain their experiences of an unequal and patriarchal society. An unstructured interview does involve a number of predetermined questions, but it also has the flexibility to add more questions as and when necessary. For example, an interviewee may mention something you'd not expected, so the unstructured interview allows the sociologist to take the conversation in a new direction. Questions are open-ended and might involve asking your interviewee, "Why do you think? Can you explain?" or "What's your opinion about?" This type of questioning gives the interviewee the latitude or freedom they need to answer in a way that they wish, rather than being forced into choosing amongst a series of fixed choices. This produces rich, detailed responses that are qualitative in character. The responses should provide useful, explanatory data that offers Verstehen. Verstehen is a concept associated with Max Weber, and it refers to empathy, or seeking to understand the meanings that we attach to our behaviour. An unstructured interview also sheds light on the social actor's first-order constructs, why we act in the ways we do, and how we make sense of the social world. Unstructured interviews might be used to understand the offending behaviour of an individual, or it may be used to learn about a group of non-conformist boys who belong to an anti-school subculture, or you might use it to interview an elite. Elite interviews involve a series of unstructured questions put to a powerful or influential person who will often have insider or specialist knowledge. You should always pilot your interview on a small scale before you attempt to complete your full interview schedule. This will enable you to improve or redraft your questions to aid clarity and reduce any chances of misunderstandings. Anti-positivists seek to generate valid data, and they argue that this truth and accuracy can best be generated by humanistic method where a rapport or trusting relationship is established. Receiving a questionnaire in the post or through an email just doesn't generate either a high response rate or particularly honest and insightful answers. However, the method is not without its weaknesses or its disadvantages. Unstructured interviews are time-consuming to complete and may take a couple of hours or more. Additionally, the interview needs to be recorded and transcribed verbatim or word for word. That way, you try to maximize the accuracy of your primary data and avoid biased editing or selective recollection. So typing up many thousands of words is very time-consuming. The method certainly isn't reliable, as no two interviews will be the same, but anti-positivists don't look for reliability anyway. Other criticisms, like its subjectivity, being unscientific and being unrepresentative, are all dismissed by anti-positivists, because they don't feel these principles are particularly important. However, what is important is that either because of embarrassment, because of peer pressure, or because the interviewer effect, where interviewees seek to please the researcher, honest answers may not be offered. If valid data is not collected through the interview process, then the method has failed in the most basic of respects. If one were looking to understand the serious ongoing criminality of an individual or group, the tendency to be uncooperative or simply to lie about their offending is quite likely. Similarly, petty juvenile offenders may exaggerate their level of criminality in order to show off. So again, we get a lack of validity. Finally, one should also be aware of how we select the data to be used in our essays, our dissertations, or published words. One should seek to avoid cherry-picking the data which supports your hypothesis or perspective, because then you are only offering a partial window into your research data and are really deceiving the reader.